So we are live. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Today I've got Rob on the call. Rob's kind of taken 20, 30 minutes out of his day to talk about his experience working with me in the 1%. By my account, he's absolutely fucking smashed it, but I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. So I'll let Rob do more talking than me, which is always difficult. That being said, Rob, I just want to give a brief intro, who you are, what you do.
Hi, so I'm Rob, 39, trader, got 2 kids and a wife at home. I joined Luke, looking for probably the big thing I joined Luke for was I was struggling with time really, and obviously I watched his Instagram, seen a few things, and yeah, decided to give it a go.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. If we kind of rewind a few months into the past, because we've been working together for a little bit now, Rob, what was kind of going on with you back when you first decided to reach out? Obviously, you'd seen a few of my bits on Instagram and whatnot, and sort of reached out, and we booked in a chat to see if I could help. What was your motivation for reaching out, or what was going on back then that made you think, right, I want to have a chat with this guy?
So, like I say, I like the way you framed your Insta for a start. Yeah, I thought it was class and thought it could help me. So with me, I kind of got everything back to front. I was trying to work at the wrong times. Everything seemed like I hadn't got time. And so I was just like, wasn't in a bad place or anything like that. I just needed to sort of figure things out. How to manage my life a little bit better. Just probably be a little bit harder on myself, because after sort of COVID, and then you get like, I had a big change with work. So I went from working in the office to working from home. Obviously we had second child, so things were a lot busier, and like I was fine, like I was still going to the gym, still doing, fine in life as such, but I wanted more. I wanted to kind of get the best out of my life, not just for me, for obviously my family as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty common narrative with a lot of guys out there anyway, but the gents that I typically work with, and sometimes it's like there's not like one thing that's completely on fire. It's not like there's anything horrendous, but there's probably lots of little things that are compounding and adding up and meaning you're not showing up and feeling your best. But equally, this kind of like gerbil wheel of like 15 plates to juggle, thinking I haven't got the time, and I'm using inverted commas because I think we'll chat about whether that's true or not. And it's this sort of probably background like, I'm not quite doing what I know I should be doing, and I sort of know I need to. And yeah, nothing's on fire, but I can be better here. This baseline isn't the sort of baseline that I want. I know there's a better version there. Does that resonate?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like you say, I mean, from working with you, I kind of know I had my life almost in back to front, like in terms of the order I was doing things. And then, like you say, from working with you, we've made quite a few changes, and yeah, in a much better place already.
Awesome. Well, let's have a chat about that then. So that was a few months back. Let's fast forward to today. We've worked together over the last few months. You've come through the process so far, and we're continuing to work together as well, which is great. What have been your key achievements or successes then, having come through the process so far?
So like I kind of alluded to earlier, basically, I was sort of I've been trying to do a couple of projects myself on the side, as well as working, as well as 2 kids, obviously, relationship, etc. Through you, I've realised the way in which I should be trying to do that with an earlier get up, rather than sort of staying up at night to do things. An earlier get up, change the way we do our day, make the base of exercise, diet, nutrition, the way we do things. I mean, the fasting, obviously we do 8 hours on, 16 off. I've kept the hours, the 12/8. That's been key in terms of diet. You don't really have to think about it with the prep that we tend to do. Then like the mind dump with the journaling, the phone detoxing, they've been probably the most important things to my day. I now get to bed at 9 rather than say 11, half 11. I'm up at 5. Then that's when all my sort of hard work will be done.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, then the time is there. Basically, you've done all your hard work for the day. Like ideally, I get an hour and a half, some days anyway, before the kids are up. And then, like you say, from there you've got a solid base. Don't have to think about food till dinner. Nice healthy meal at dinner, low carb meal, and then we're away, sort of thing, for the rest of the day. And you've got, in the evening, you've got time to spend with the family, and you're probably a lot more relaxed than you ordinarily would be, and with the phone detox, etc. Sleeping better, sleeping a lot better.
That whole thing about having got enough time, it's like, on the face of it, it's technically true, but then when you start to investigate and interrogate what you're doing, it's like, well, I hear sometimes when someone says I'm not a morning person, and I just sort of smile and go, all right then. It's like, let's have a look at your evening. It's like, oh, I went to bed at midnight and I was really stressed and I played on my phone and I ate shit and I drank. Like, oh, maybe we address some of that and see what happens.
It's crazy. Yeah. with the like, you're probably up for the same amount of hours, but yeah, it's just, like I say, I was trying to do like the reverse. I was almost trying to like do a bit of the next day's work at like 10 o'clock at night, and when you like knackered, and there's just the productivity just what isn't there at that time, is it? Whereas, like you say, you get up, you do it at 5. It's a different ball game completely.
And then you've got a cascade of like quote unquote wins for the day, right? You get up, you've had a cold shower, you've done some, some journaling, you've done a little bit of work, you've done some exercise. It's like bam, 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 and then when the day throws a bucket of shit at you, which it often does, you've already done a load of stuff, and so you've already got that stuff boxed off, and so you're not chasing your tail at the end of the day either, right? And so,
yeah,
of course, there's never one size fits all, and this stuff has to be flexible, otherwise there's no point, because it isn't like a rigid routine, as we've discussed before, Rob. But like, I think having a lot of your stuff, especially for guys in our situations where young or even older families, work, business, all the rest of it, relationships and stuff going on, like your time is genuinely squeezed at the end of the day. There isn't as much of it as you can, and you've got other things going on. And so, like, structuring your day in such a way where you're getting stuff for yourself boxed off when you're not as pinched, essentially. I think for me it's powerful, and then there's less to worry about then, right?
Yeah, and like you say, all the tools that we've got with the journaling, with the phone detox and things, you generally feel better about doing it. You have a little bit more time to plan, and you feel a lot more in control about how you're structuring things, rather than, like you say, just sort of trying to get ahead for the next day the night before. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Exactly. And like, and I know like the weight loss piece and things, well, it wasn't actually a real core driver for you, but that's kind of just happened as a byproduct, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've lost, since we've been together, 4 kilos, something like that, which is great. But like I said, I was already kind of going into the gym and doing bits, but yeah, I wasn't too concerned over my physical side because I was already doing quite a lot.
Yeah.
But this is just, like you say, just again, just shows with a bit more structure, a little bit more routine. That you in all aspects, like, I've just got a much better balance physically and mentally.
And I think that was one of the core drivers for why you came. So some gents I work with might, like, I guess for me, I think most people's problems like are basically the same. The circumstances are unique and slightly different, and actually the negative externalities of those problems kind of differ a bit. So the next guy might be more considerably overweight because he hasn't got his stuff together, but still wants the balance, still is a bit like, I ain't got time, don't know what to do. It's still the same stuff, but like what's really pushing their button in terms of why they want to address it might be coming at it from a slightly different place, and it might be the weight piece, whereas you were slightly different. It's like, well, that's kind of all right, but actually I'm not balanced, I haven't got the time, or haven't got the time in inverted commas, and that's the thing we need to address. And so we started to address that. And so it's for me, it's recognizing that all of that is kind of the sum of the parts. And so, like, for you, the weight wasn't even a thing really, but in addressing this stuff, we can actually sort that out. For other people, that might be their initial driver, but then actually recognizing that the reason they aren't where they need to be is because all the other shit isn't sorted, right? And so it's kind of meeting those two things in the middle.
Yeah, and my consistency for going to the gym, to making sure I'm doing things, and that is 100% better just through what we've done as well. So like before, I'd kind of like, you sack it off, don't you, every now and again, and I'd probably be doing couple of sessions a week one week, then I'd be doing sort of 4 the next, if that really. But then now I'm like standard 3, definitely 3. Probably do little bits at home as well. Besides, like I still play football and things like that. So yeah, even
ultimately
that.
being more consistent, right? That's
Yeah,
the key as
yeah.
well. One thing I wanted to ask was, I know your missus initially was a bit skeptical about the whole thing, right? She was like, "What? Who's this? What's going to talk to some random northern off Instagram? What's going on here?" Can you speak to me a bit about that? Like, because I know obviously her opinion of the whole process has changed quite dramatically, right?
Yeah, massively. So yeah, I mean, obviously, as you do, kind of you have a chat, and like I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about means this, and not kind of. She's very supportive generally. So
Yeah,
so she was like, yeah, okay. Then obviously spoke to her about like finances and things
yeah,
like that, and she's like, so what does he do then? And like basically was like, not sure about this. A couple of weeks into the program, by the way, this is not
yeah,
like at the very start. And yeah, she was really skeptical, but now like I'm up with the kids in the mornings, and like I'm there, I'm doing the washing up, I'm like I'm giving her. I mean, she's hurting here
yeah,
as well at the moment, so I'm doing a hell of a lot more. But she's fully bought into what you do now. Like just she's just seen the transformation really. Like no longer am I sort of getting up just to log into work to get the day done, and you know, giving the odd lift and things like that. Now I'm like fully there. I'm there for the family. I'm
present
doing
for the kids.
a lot. Yeah, I'm doing a hell of a lot more around the house just generally, and yeah, and just my like the way I am is slightly changed for her. So
Yeah,
she appreciates it.
and I think that's the powerful thing, because we can often, I don't mean you, Rob, I mean the royal you, like, or royal we, like say the things that we want to do. We're going to do all this extra, but like if your actions don't align with that, it doesn't really mean anything. But and this is a beautiful example of like, well, yeah, a bit skeptical. Is what's this guy going to do? Is it really going to help? And then what she's seen is a product of that, and it's not anything you're saying. It's just you're doing it. You're involved. You're more present. You know, all of those things. And I think that's what's powerful, because actually, I see a marked difference in you. And it's not just you've lost a ton of weight, and I've seen some before and afters on Instagram. It's nothing to do with that really. It's how you're showing up and behaving within your life. And I think it's fantastic that she's seen a benefit. And it often happens with gents that I work with that the wife might be a bit more skeptical at first, and then like they see the process. And I had a chat with a guy a while ago, and it was talking about continuing and wanting to do the work. And he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure." And he went and spoke to his missus. She went, "What do you mean? 100% you're continuing." She was like, "No, yeah, carry on." You know what I mean? Like, so, but I think that speaks volumes. It's that whole practice what you preach, right? And I think it's you show that you're working to be your best through your actions, and that's really powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, it's easy to kind of just go, oh, I want to do a bit better, I want to do a bit more. But until you go do something about it, and like obviously working with you, you know how to get the better out of people. Like you've said to me a lot of times, is like when you're in it, you can't see it. But
Mm-hmm.
once you take a step back and like, start working with someone like yourself, and just those, like you say, a lot of the things that we do are very, very basic things. But when they're done consistently with thought and intent, then, like you say, they do become really powerful. And I haven't cut anything out of my life either. I've just done things a lot more intentionally. Like I'll still go out, I'll still do things, like still do the same things I've always done. It's just having a much better structure and a much better order to how I'm doing them, and if anything, doing more things, but more things that are kind of looking after my health and my welfare.
Yeah, yeah, and because that has a direct correlation to everything else. It's like if you're putting yourself into the floor by working toward, whatever it might be, it comes from a very well-intentioned place. You want to provide for your family, you want to whatever else. But then if you're not taking care of yourself as a byproduct, what ends up happening is everyone else gets a shitter, diluted version of you as a byproduct of that. And so what is well-intentioned, actually you end up creating this negative track, whereas actually take a little bit of time, step back, a bit more reflective, be more intentional on what needs to happen. Well, everyone gets a much better version of you as a byproduct, like we were just saying, when your missus sort of sees and recognizes that, right? And again, that's powerful because it's the actions. And that's also where it's like, if you're not feeling your best or subpar or whatever, like we were chatting about when you first started, we often look externally. What is the thing I need to change? Oh, I need a new job, or I need to do the newest thing. I'm going to suddenly change this, and like that might be true, but you're not really resolving what the actual problem is. And so, actually, you point the lens at yourself, like you said. Sometimes like you said, when you're in it, you can't see it. Some very, very obvious things. And then that's where it's like, well, nothing's actually changed. Like life is still life. There's nothing different, but I feel so much better within it, and I'm showing up better. And that, for me, that's the powerful bit, because it's like you've done the work on yourself, and in doing that, making those little small changes has a massive impact on how everything looks and seems for you, but also for everyone else that matters in your life.
Yeah, and like a lot of the work we do obviously is about kind of framing things in a better way, isn't it? And that's really a lot of, like you say, what I've done.
Yeah, because it's looking at it with one lens, and there's usually a negative spin, and then there's also a more positive one, and it's not about being deliberately like obtuse or lying to yourself and saying something that it's not, because that isn't helpful. But it's like, well, you could look at it one way, or you could look at it this way. You know, and I think it's just coming at it with something with a more positive angle or a positive lens is just ultimately more empowering. Because it's like, if there's an option to look at it in a negative way, well, how well does that serve you? Or like, you know, so and I think often it doesn't, and often when we're really objective, most of the time things aren't quote unquote as bad as we think, and actually there's always a sliver of something that we can learn or benefit from, and that ultimately that's more empowering, because then you can always change, learn, and move forward. It's like, if something bad's happened or you haven't shown up and done X, Y, Z that you like, if you go, it's because I'm shit and I'm lazy, that's a conversation stop dead. Right, great then. Where do we go from there? Or you go about like, you know, I'm tired in the morning, I didn't get up. Okay, you're lazy, right? That's it, done. Oh, why? I was tired. Okay, why? I was up late. Why? Because I was stressed and doing work emails. Do you reckon we can maybe address that and see if we didn't? And okay, straight away, you're not a lazy piece of shit. There's a valid reason, and it's something we can fix. So it's not being overly saccharine. It's just looking at it and framing the situation differently. So one frame is, I'm not a morning person, I'm lazy in the morning. The other frame is, my evening's a shit show and I need to address it. See what I mean? But then in doing that, you can empower yourself.
Yeah, and that has been a big thing for me, to be fair. Like you say, the evening, like putting the phone away, dealing with what I need to deal with, but then equally getting in bed at a good time. Sorted.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Rob. As we're discussing, we're all very busy, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat. And hopefully, guys have got a lot out of this conversation. Before we jump off, let's say someone's watching this and they're maybe on the fence a bit, maybe like you were, you know, a few months back, feeling okay, know they could do better, not sure, maybe want some help, maybe think they can do it, but they can't do it, and that kind of sort of feeling the situation. What would you say to someone who's on the fence about maybe investing in a coach or a process, watching this? What would you say to them? Just
do it. Like, literally, just do it. You won't look back. There's nothing in there that you can't do. Luke's Instagram might come across pretty hard hitting at times, but actually, as a coach, he's not completely different, you know, but he's very understanding, and above all, literally knows what you need generally. And a lot of it's probably not being as hard on yourself as you probably are. But yeah, no, just do it. Just do it.
Awesome. Thank you, mate. That's a good endorsement if ever there was one. So thank you. On that note, Rob, thank you, mate. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And anyone watching, I'm sure they got a lot of value, so I appreciate that. If anyone is watching and they would like a chat, they're interested in what me and Rob spoke about how I can help, drop me a DM or drop a note in the comments. Other than that, have a fantastic week. Rob, you're a legend. Thank you very much. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.